Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are live today. Hello, everybody, with our featured guest, Jill Cruz. So excited to have her here with us. And we were having just a little bit of technology things again, but we're excited to be here. Thank you for your patience with us. And we're talking about 4 steps to better choices today. And, really and truly, I mean, this to me is a great subject because, I think whenever we're talking about, for one thing, we're at the beginning of a new year. And I think a lot of times we get really intentional. At least I do. Like whenever I start thinking about it, it's not just about New Year's resolutions. I think it's about kind of thinking about our life and our choices and the things that we're doing. And sometimes we think choices have to be like everything has to be hard, but it doesn't have to be. And I think sometimes we get swayed by temptations. And sometimes I think it's just about paying attention to those pivotal choices, those day by day choices, and then the things that we're doing. And Jill's going to she's going to introduce some much gentler, loving, effective, and sustainable ways to kind of move forward. And Jill is, I have to say, I reached out to her. She was on LinkedIn and she just kind of drew me in. I was scrolling through some stuff and I saw you and I'm like, I need to reach out to her and just see if she'd be willing to come on here and share some things, because I just thought her content looked so valuable. And I'm going to actually allow her to kind of do a formal introduction. So I'm going to just turn the tables over here, Jill. And while you're doing that, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to switch on to my phone and make sure I'm connecting to a couple of our other formats. We also are on Berry Nation. So if anybody's here from Berry Nation, say hi. And also to our Facebook page. So I'll be quiet for just a second while Jill's introducing herself.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Brenda. I'm super excited to be here today, and I appreciate the shout out about the content because as we were talking earlier, I have a lot to say. So hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited to talk about this topic because it is so important, and we know when it comes to approaching whether it's weight loss, weight maintenance, health, improving your health, wellness, it really does come down to our day-to-day choices. It's such an important part, and it's mindset. It's really mindset. So I'm Jill Cruz. I have a Master of Science in Human Nutrition. I'm a board-certified nutrition specialist, and my business is called Work with Your Nature, Wellness and Weight Loss. And we specialize in helping women lose weight and maintain their weight and improve their wellness and health through working with our nature as opposed to working against it. So healthy, sustainable, balanced, encompassing all of our lifestyle aspects, not just nutrition, but fitness and mindset and all of that. So I'm going to go right into the presentation. We're going to, what I would love is if everybody just please be present, like try not to be checking your email while you're listening, because I know that's really easy to do. And, if you want, have like a little notebook or a place to take some notes, because I would like for this to be a kind of like a workshop for you where you can do some thinking and some writing about whatever it is that's on your mind relating to this topic. So I'm going to go into screen share. And when I do that, I will not be able to see you or the chat at all. So if there is something that comes up, Brenda, please let me know. And but we do have time at the end for more discussion. So I'm just going to put on my timer here so I keep track. And we are going to go into the slides.
And Kayla's going to be sharing her slides. So what I want to say too is, guys, there is a chat box in Crowdcast. Please feel free to use that. There's also an ask a question feature on Crowdcast. On Facebook, if you're joining us from there, hi Jolene, and it looks like Hello, Enid. Hello, Robin. Hello, Michaela. Um, Hello, Robin. I want to say, and Alex, it looks like Alex and Jolene. Anyways, I just want to say hello to everybody that's joining us and said hello. If anybody has anything they want to say or ask a question, please say it in the comment boxes, because I'll stop Jill at any point. This is meant to be interactive. Jill wanted it to be interactive. Like she wants people to be able to ask questions and things like that. So please feel free during this to make sure, and we'll just kind of pause in between things and help answer questions. So in that, I'm going to pause. I'm going to kind of mute myself because sometimes that outside noise kind of causes interference, but periodically I'll unmute if there is some comments.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, please do let me know if there are any comments or questions. I can always go out of screen share to kind of, feel more interactive, because right now all I can see is my slides. So thank you everybody for being here. We're talking about 4 steps to better choices. And this is actually, when we think of steps, we may think, well, I have to do step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3. This is more of a holistic approach. So you don't have to, if you don't do step 1, doesn't mean you can't do step 2. This is more of a, listen, the journey toward higher health it's a kind of a messy, convoluted, bumpy ride for all of us. So it's nice to package things in easy to understand ways, but when it comes to the reality of our lives, you're going to do what works for you in any given moment. So don't worry about the order. And I'm going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a schematic of some of the very, very important mindset strategies that we use in our practice. And as you can see, I have 6 different things up here, and we're talking about 4 of them today, just because, well, for the main reason is that 2 of them, which you can see here, nourish properly and set up your environment for success, those are very personalized. So we believe very strongly that there is no one diet that's right for everybody. And so when we work with our clients, we kind of work together to establish those 2 aspects. But the other 4, which is calming your nervous system, and we're going to talk about each of these, inspiration, commitment and recommitment, and healthy responsibility, I can speak in broad terms about these to you. And well, also there's just not enough time to cover all of this. But the other 2, nourishing your body properly and setting up your environment for success, are very important in making healthy choices. But we're going to focus on these 4 for today. So we're going to start with calming your nervous system. And that, before we get into the importance of that, I would like for you for just a moment to think about how are decisions made. Not just you and specifically, how do you make choices, but in general, how do we as human beings make decisions? And so we're going to go into that because, and this relates to your nervous system, because it's happening in your brain for the most part. And there's a lot going on in your brain when you make a choice of, and we're going to talk a lot about like food and those, lifestyle choices, because I think that's why we're all here today, to talk about those sorts of things. But when you make a decision to stop and get, fast food on your way home from work, or you make a decision to go home and cook, that's just a choice, right? And that's what Brenda was talking about. It's pivotal moments in our lives where we make a choice. And there's a process that occurs in the brain when we do that. And there's a lot going on. So I kind of want to outline it for you so that you get a good idea of some idea of what's going on. So the prefrontal cortex, that's our reasoning, logical, intellectual, executive function part of our brain. And when you make a decision, the final decision is made there. And then let's say you're driving and you decide to pull over and stop and go to the takeout or whatever. That's only going to be done if your prefrontal cortex says that it's going to be done. So that's really important to understand in the decision-making process, is that you always have the ability to make a different decision. And that's happening here. The only problem is the prefrontal cortex, it can be compromised. And there's a lot of different signals coming from other parts of the brain that are trying to influence your decision. So when you think about willpower, that mostly is happening in the prefrontal cortex. When you're thinking about motivation, that like I set my goal and I want to reach my goal, that's more in the prefrontal cortex, okay? But we have other parts of the brain. So the dopamine or the reward center is going to want to have a say in the matter. So, the whole thing of, well, I had the brownie and it tasted good. Your brain remembers that. So in a way, we're kind of like dogs or animals in that way. We're just going to go after that reward. The dog doesn't care, right? When they see food, they go for it. We have that part of our brain too. So sometimes it can really, really make things challenging for us, right? To make a better decision. So just remember that, it's not your fault in many ways, because there's so much coming at the prefrontal cortex, including that, oh, I want that dopamine rush. I remember how good that tasted. But it's important that you know that that's happening so that you can not always blame yourself, right? Like think about it this way, like, okay, well, that was my reward center driving me to do that decision. But the final decision is made by your prefrontal cortex, so you can be aware of it and then make a different choice. The amygdala, or you can even just think of it as like the emotional or stress parts of your brain, are also going to influence your decision. So if you are stressed out, your ability to make a good choice is compromised. It's really, really important. I'm sure there are people who are listening right now who have participated in stress eating. I know I have, and that's sometimes it's unavoidable, but it's important that we understand what's going on. And finally, we have habits, and habits are either friend or foe, right? If you have the habit of getting up and making a delicious, nutritious breakfast, that's your friend. And that's going to happen even if you're tired, even if you're stressed most of the time. But if you have a so-called bad habit of eating, dessert every single night, and it's got to be ice cream or brownies, then that's going to influence your decision-making even without your thoughts, right? So habits are things that we do without thinking. And that can be good or bad, right? So if it's a really strong, healthy habit, great, we don't have to think about it. We don't have to involve our willpower to make that decision. So it can be your friend. But if it's not such a positive habit, then you may do it unconsciously without thinking. And again, in a way, it's not your fault, except that if you have goals and you want to accomplish things and that habit is not aligned with your goals, then you're going to have to use your prefrontal cortex to stop that habit. Not always easy, takes time, but I think it's really important that we're all aware of what's all the things that are going on in our brains to make a decision. I just want to pause for a moment and see if there are any questions or comments about that.
I unmuted to kind of look and see. I don't see any on Facebook, but please feel free. I'm refreshing my screen to make sure. And I don't see any here on Crowdcast.
Okay, good. I just wanted to check in because I know it's a lot of information. And, again, I do want people to please interact and feel free to ask questions at any point. So now we're going to go into more introspective and talking about how, these steps. So I would like you right now, if you can, either write it down on a piece of paper or on your phone or your laptop, whatever device you're on. Think of one area where you would like to make better choices. So maybe it is that, after work, what you're eating after work. Or maybe it is that you want to get up and exercise more. Maybe you want to go to bed earlier. Maybe you want to eat more vegetables. So write down something. And again, as Brenda said, it's the new year. So most of us have kind of set up our goals and aspirations for the year. So I would imagine that there's something, I'm hoping that there's something that you can think of. And just write that down or think of it. And I'll just be quiet for a couple of seconds while you do that. I'll take a sip of water. We're going to move forward because I want you to keep that in mind as we move forward. So calming your nervous system, that was one of the most important steps in this whole process of making better choices. I'm curious if anybody can guess why it's important to calm your nervous system down in order to make better choices. And you can put it in the chat, and Brenda will tell me if anybody has guessed this.
Okay, I'm kind of looking over both.
I know there's a delay on Facebook Live. I know that. So
yeah, we'll give it a second because there is just a little bit. Michelle says, not making an emotional response.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that is the crux of the matter, because I talked about how the prefrontal cortex can be strong. It's got to be strong, but there are all these things coming at it, which could be your emotions due to stress, right? Like you're stressed out, you're worried, you're anxious, and now your prefrontal cortex is not working as well. And so it's compromised and you're not going to make the best decision. So that's exactly right, Michelle.
Jill, there's actually some more responses here too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear them.
Okay, Meredith says, because your fight flight response happens when you aren't calm, and that means you'll go to your go-to versus the logical choice you want. So basically, your fight flight response, happens and you are calm. So you're not really thinking in a logical kind of sense. And then Robin says, I overeat when I'm nervous or stressed.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So I think we all most of us have experienced this. And what happens is when you are, that fight or flight response is turned on and you're not calm, then that prefrontal cortex is not functioning at its best. So when you wake up in the morning and you feel fine and you're relaxed, it's like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm going to eat perfectly today, right? And then by the end of the day, after the world has kind of beaten you down, it was like, I don't care what it is, I'm just going to eat, right? So that is a perfect example of how having that calm nervous system can actually empower you. And you can keep that calmness throughout the day to a certain extent, right? You're not going to be totally in this Zen state all day, perhaps, but you can keep it more calm if you practice certain things. So, and I was just thinking of like times when you made bad decisions when stressed. So thinking about that. And I think that's been mentioned, right? We make, eat more than we need, or we just choose the wrong things. So very important. But also, just as a side note, when we are thinking about burning body fat or maintaining our weight or losing weight, it's very important for you to understand that your nervous system is involved in that. So it's not just this. Your metabolism doesn't operate in a vacuum somewhere without any other influences. Your nervous system is involved in the digestive process, in your metabolism, in your immune system, in your hormonal systems. So it's not just about the decision-making process, it's also about the metabolic function in your hormones, in your body. So if your nervous system is calm most of the time, which we've been designed to be, then everything operates better. So your metabolism works better. Your immune system works better. Your hormones are more balanced. This is very, very important for all of us to understand. Not only even whether you want to lose weight or maintain or not, even just good old fashioned, health and wellness. Everything works better when your nervous system is calm. And if anybody has a dog here, you could put it in the chat if you do, but when a dog, you can just observe a dog, when someone's at the door and they're barking and barking and barking. I have a big 95-pound dog. So he's barking and barking and his hackles are up. You can see his backside, right? It's like the hackles. But after the male person leaves, he's just blah, 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 his own floppy self again. He lies down and goes to sleep. We actually are designed to have the same response to stress. So we get, and then calm down. But what's happening in our current society is that we're in our hackles are up all the time. And we're not designed to function like that. And many of you may have heard about this. So when you're constantly in that chronic stress state, all the systems in your body are adversely affected. Hormones, metabolism, gut function, immune system, everything. So it's really important. This is the foundation of health, actually, that not everybody talks about, but I think it's really important. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is inspiration. And I asked you to write down an area where you would like to make better choices. So I want you to go back to that. And I want you to think, what's in it for you? Why do you want to make those better choices? And again, I'm going to give you a moment, and you can definitely put it in the chat if you want. You don't feel obligated to share all your deepest, darkest desires, but you can put it in the chat, but write it down for yourself, certainly, because the why, the what's in it for you is crucial. You have to be in touch with your why, and there should be more than one, and no why is bad. All of your whys are good. I've many times had clients say to me, well, it's superficial. I really want to look good in my jeans. And I'm like, that's not superficial. That's could be an inspiration for you. So write down as many as you can. And I'll try to be quiet for a moment. And if you have any you want to put in the chat, please do. So hopefully we had a little bit of time. I know there's a delay in Facebook. Is there anything, Brenda, to share?
Yes, a couple things. I think, well, there was a couple comments related to the last comments about Merida she said that's why she gets upset. When she gets upset, her stomach sometimes hurts. And Maria, if I'm pronouncing that right, says her lab cross gets super upset when there's wildlife in the front yard, but if she cuddles her, she calms down, which is sweet. Edith has a little dog picture. I don't see anything on Facebook right now. Hope I'm not missing anything. It looks like Bobby has her hand up. So I'm wondering, I think her hand's raised. So Bobby, if you have something, please feel free in the chat box to maybe, she says, I am trying to move more and more, eat healthier. By doing this, I have less joint pain and lose weight.
Okay, good. So those are the inspirations, right? Feeling good in your body, feeling comfortable, losing weight. Yeah, fantastic.
And Enid's asking too, what was the question? So I think the question was, from what I understand, Jill, was like, if you have something you're wanting to change, what is your inspiration for doing that? Is that what you're...
Yes. We often hear it now these days. It's very popular to talk about your whys. What are your whys? And we're going to talk more about inspiration and why I use that term in a moment. So I'll move forward to the next slide. And then if anything comes up, please let me know, Brenda, because this is going to take me a few minutes to go through. And I know it may look a little intimidating, this graphic. But I want you to just start by looking in the center where on the right and left side, on the right side, it says inspiration right in the middle. And on the left side, it says motivation. And I want you just for a moment to think about the difference between inspiration and motivation. Do those feel like the same things to you? Just thinking about that. And again, you can put that in the chat. The way that I've come to feel about this is that inspiration feels good and motivation doesn't feel as good. And I'll explain why. And you can see from this graphic that the motivation is on the left side under, and it's coming from fear, anger, sadness, or some other negative feeling. And again, I don't want to, fear, anger, and sadness are not necessarily negative, but they don't really feel good to us. I'll rephrase that because, we need to have fear, anger, and sadness in our lives. So I don't like to think of them as being bad, but they usually don't feel so good to us. So what happens is when we have, let's say, fear. So for example, a doctor says, oh, Lisa, your parents both had heart disease and now you're older and you're gaining weight. And if you don't change your habits, you're going to have a heart attack. Whoa, doc, and many of us have experienced that, right? Like getting a scare from a doctor. It could be even worse than that. That's fear. That is fear. And fear can be a motivator. It can be something that pushes us to take action. But in my many years of working with people for nutrition and weight loss, I have come to realize that fear is not a sustainable inspiration or motivator. So it fizzles out. I've worked with people. I worked with a man who had stage 4 lung cancer, and the doctors were like, you need to change your diet, and he refused. I had a client I worked with, he had quadruple bypass heart surgery, and he started working with me, and he was eating well. And then 2 months later, his daughter called me, and she said, he's sneaking this, and that, and he's not following your recommendations. These people are being motivated by fear. And what happens is when we're motivated by fear, in those weak moments, when we're stressed, when we're tired, and our prefrontal cortex is not up and running perfectly, we go, you know what, who cares? I'll take the heart disease or, whatever it is. It's just how I've just seen this through human nature, and there's research backing this up too. But another type of fear, which I just want to mention, which I think is very common, is the fear, and we're going to get deep here for a moment, okay? Just bear with me. The fear of not being loved and appreciated. And I think this has a lot to do when people want to lose weight. It's because we feel that if we don't look a certain way, then people aren't going to love us or appreciate us. And it's sad. I think as women, I'm a woman, I've had those thoughts throughout my life, that I have to look a certain way in order to be appreciated, in order to be successful, in order to be deemed valuable, in order to be loved. And a lot of us go about the weight loss journey motivated by that. And again, it's not sustainable. And what happens is it leads to longing, which leads to desperate action. And desperate action, for example, oh, I'm going to starve myself to lose weight. I'm going to work out 2 hours a day just to get those 5 pounds off or 10 pounds off as quickly as possible. I'm going to do the latest fad crash diet. And I'm not going to be nourishing my body properly, but I'm going to lose the weight anyway. That's what fear does to us. And I'm inviting you to step away from that as much as you can. I know it's not easy. And to step into the other side, which is inspired by love. I would like to invite you to tap into that a little bit. How can you be inspired by love? And what happens is when you're inspired by love, then you have a desire. And it's like, I forget the name, but somebody said, achy joints and weight loss. And we can turn it around because how can we turn that around to be a positive? It's okay to have that, but let's try to find those positive inspirations. I want to feel good in my body. I want to feel energetic. I want to be able to jump on a trampoline or whatever it is, go hiking or take a walk without pain. I just want to feel good. So that's what we always encourage our clients to find the thing that just feels really good. Like, I just want to do this because it feels good. And sometimes, often, I recommend, I want to do it just because I deserve it. I deserve to be cared for properly. I'm worthy of that. And that's self-love. That's self-love. And those types of emotions, they're more sustainable and they lead to inspired action instead of desperate action. So you see how important this is? This is all mindset stuff. And we're going to talk about commitment and recommitment in a moment. But I just want to pause and see if there are any questions or comments from this or the previous, whatever we've talked about so far.
Oh, no, I love this, Jill. Okay, I don't see anything right now on Facebook. I'll keep an eye. Robin says, I think it's motivation to be here for my grandson. I'm happy in my body, but I'm not healthy. Then Meredith says, how do we switch exercise from feeling like a punishment versus feeling like a loving choice? Not easy to convince myself. There's another one, but I'm going to pause there for just a second before going to the next one. Do you have a comment on that? Like, sometimes I feel like how would you rephrase that? Like, the exercise, if you're having a hard time with it, like.
Yeah. So look, there are some people who are just like, I don't like to exercise. Believe me, we've encountered many people like this in our programs, but the problem with the current model, which I call the 1980s approach to weight loss, which is based in fear, is that we are meant to believe that if we're not doing it all and doing it hard and doing it well, then it's just not worth doing. And that is simply wrong. So I would try to rephrase the question is there a type of movement that you can do that you enjoy or like or don't mind? Maybe it's not to the level of enjoyment, but you don't mind doing it and it doesn't feel like punishment. A lot of women love to dance, love to just take walks or hike or play around in the yard with the dog, clean the house. I know I don't like cleaning the house, but some people enjoy that. So I have a thing about exercise, and I say that there are 3 stages to our relationships with exercise. There's the romance, there's the dating, and there's the marriage. If you haven't been exercising a lot, then and you're just starting out again, or you're just starting out for the first time, think of it as a romance. You're dating. And it's got to be fresh. It's got to be fun. It's got to be something you look forward to, like, those early dates that you have with someone. Think of exercise as being that way. And then eventually your relationship will mature to dating and then marriage. When you're married to exercise, you do it anyway. It's habitual. And, you do it even though it's not always fun. But you don't need to think that you're married to exercise from day one. That's a big mistake that people make. I could go on, but I hope that that's enough inspiration for that question. Find something you love, because the thing is, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to keep doing it and it's not sustainable. So you're back to square one again. Even if it's 5 minutes a day of turning on a great song and dancing, do that for 3 months and then add another song. Because the thing is, if you build that habit slowly, it feels frustrating. It feels like, oh, I got to do this fast. I got to do this good, right? But how many times have many of us started an exercise regime, which was perfect and very good and very effective, did it for 3 months or 6 months or a year, and then stopped, and then didn't work out for 2 years? Let's take that madness away. And for the next year, just work on getting a habit of exercising for 10 minutes a day, something that you enjoy. That's a different approach, but you won't have to go back to square one ever again. Does that make sense? I mean, most likely. Sorry.
I think it's perfect. It's great advice. For one thing, too, I feel like I know for me, one of my habits. I kind of did a couple classes recently on habits, I guess support groups on habits, and one of my kind of goals for myself was to kind of start doing a little bit more physical exercise. So I kind of started back. And I really want to start doing more resistance training. But in the beginning, I just really needed to build my endurance up. And I thought, I'm just going to start walking. And so for
Mhm.
me, that's what I'm starting with.
Yeah.
And that's more fun for me right now, and it's where I need to start. So
Yeah.
start where you can right now, you know, start
And
where you're able to.
and be kind to yourself, because the thing is, again, the whole industry is based on you're not good enough, you got to hurry up and lose weight, do this quick fix, lose 50 pounds in a year, hurry up and be that Instagram model. Forget about all of that. Be nice to yourself. It's okay, because punishing is a very, very crucial word. We punish ourselves with exercise, we punish ourselves with food, we're constantly berating ourselves if we're not perfect, and that's habitual. And I think someone asked, how do you reframe in your mind? um, just, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, I did that, and that's okay. um, that Let's try to stop punishing ourselves.
There's some great comments here, Jill, too. Do you mind if I kind of
Go
read
for
some
it.
of
Yeah.
these?
Yeah, sure.
Letitia says, oh my goodness, this might help me with my teen. I've been having such a hard time motivating her, but now I know I need to inspire her, which, now she knows, like, yeah, I think that's great. And Michaela has a great point, which I feel is point on, very point on. She says movement. I like to call it conscious movement. When we use the term exercise, sometimes I think it kind of scares people off. It's just
Yeah.
about moving, it's just about like physical movement,
Hmm.
whatever it
Hmm.
is, it's about movement. So I love that.
Yeah.
Denise says, I can honestly say my weight loss journey began because of health issues and family health issues. I've always been comfortable with being a bigger person. What would you say would be a good inspiration versus motivation in this scenario? So what she's saying is her journey began with health issues and family issues, and she's been comfortable with being a bigger person, but what would be a good inspiration for her?
So I am I'm not a it's hard for me to give inspiration to someone else, but I will give some potential ideas. So I always go back to just feeling good, because a lot of the clients that we work with are people who are losing weight in a very gradual manner. So they may take a year to lose 15 pounds. And that, I know, compared to the conventional world, that sounds ridiculous. But my philosophy is, if you lose those 15 pounds and you never have to lose them again, wouldn't that be fantastic? So how does one stay inspired when the weight loss is gradual? Or if you're dealing with an autoimmune issue or a lot of pain in your body and it's slow going, that is that I believe very strongly, it's do it for the sake of doing it. I know that sounds terrible, but can you find little pleasures in the process? When I eat less, I sleep a little bit better at night. When I eat less sugar, I notice that I have more energy in the day. So finding those small little feedback loops that make you feel good. It could also be like being proud of yourself, of like, I set this goal and I accomplished it this week, and I feel really good about that. So the little pleasures are really important, and they give you that feedback loop. But I say, let's be kind to our bodies just because we deserve it. We deserve it. And as women, I think mostly women probably on this call, we I always say, we give 10 and we get one. We're used to giving, 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 giving. And the thought that we could just give something to ourselves just because we deserve it is almost feels like, a sacrilege. But I say, let's do it because we deserve it. We deserve to take care of our bodies. And I'll also give you another little tip for everybody is if you can spend a little time with your body every day, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, just close your eyes and just do a scan from head to toe and just give it a little appreciation. Like, thank you, feet, for all you do. Thank you, uterus, for bearing children, or, if that's the case with you. Thank you, fingers, for being able to type or being able to take care, do your job. So finding that beauty and appreciation in your own body can also be really inspiring. Okay. I think I've said enough about that.
You know what? Jill, Enid said, this is so good that I'm just a sponge right now. And I agree. I think that you kind of hit it head on. And I think this probably resonates with a lot of people, especially for those people, I'm going to say, I don't know where. So this unique niche that probably a lot of people that are listening are either pre-bariatric surgery or post-bariatric surgery. So they could be a lot of different levels of that. I know for me, I am 10 years post-bariatric surgery. So you're probably going to have a lot of different levels of people on that line. For me, like once you get more than a year post-bariatric surgery, what I'm going to say is, this is what you're saying right here is truth. You can whether it take this mindset of no matter how long it takes, living this kind of lifestyle that you're talking about is where it's at. Like being able to find ways to keep yourself inspired to live that kind of lifestyle is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm just going to move forward because I do want to get through the slides, and I know it's 2:45. I'm going to talk just very briefly about commitment. Commitment is essential for anyone to take action. So it could be a small little thing like, I'm going to brush my teeth. There's a commitment there. You may not think of it that way, but there is a commitment. And if you want to, maybe you can think of what is one inspired action that you want to take after listening today? What can you commit to? But I'll tell you also, there's a little get out of jail free card, and that's the recommitment. So your recommitment is always in your pocket. It's not an excuse. When you commit, I'm going to walk for 5 minutes a day, that could be a commitment, right? I commit to doing that. You're putting your stake in the sand, and without that, things don't progress generally. So make that commitment, whatever feels comfortable for you. But remember that if you walk for 10 days straight and then on the 11th day you were too busy and you didn't walk, that's okay. Again, that kindness to yourself, just recommit. Just recommit. And that's always in your pocket. Well, I didn't do so well, but let me pull out the recommitment card and let me just recommit. So I'm going to leave it at that because I want to move forward to our final mindset topic, which is taking responsibility. Now, this is very important because you might be thinking, all right, what is Jill getting at here? Because a lot of things have happened to me in my life. But really, your choices are 100% your responsibility. And if I say that and it feels uncomfortable, that may be because you are confusing responsibility with blame. We kind of have convoluted those two words into one thing in our modern culture. I don't know why, but taking 100% responsibility should feel good because you're not blaming someone else. You're not blaming yourself. You're just taking responsibility. And once you do that, you can move forward. Because a lot of times we've made so many choices, so many bad choices that we think, I don't deserve to be healthy. I don't deserve to feel a certain way in my body because I messed up 100,000 times. Take responsibility for all of those bad choices and then let them go. Forgive yourself for those, and then move on. Once you take responsibility, you can move on, but do not blame yourself. Blame and taking responsibility are very different. We need to differentiate them, because when we blame ourselves, we're making ourselves wrong. When we blame someone else, we're making them wrong, and that doesn't help anybody. So judgment, criticism, blame, guilt, shame, those are all feelings and thoughts that we have that do not serve us, and research has shown do not improve our behavior or our decision making. What's going to improve your decision making is taking responsibility, committing, doing it for yourself because you deserve it, calming your nervous system down, and then just choosing one small inspired action to take. So that's my presentation about decision making. I do want to just, this is the final, just a recap here of what we talked about. And I'm going to just go forward to two things. One, I have a podcast. So please listen to the podcast, because you'll hear me speaking about all this kind of stuff. And also I have amazing guests who come on. We're all women, some talking about weight-related issues, some talking about general health. It's empowered health for women. And I asked Michaela today to come on, and maybe she can put that in the chat, the link. And also, we do have a community platform. It's called Mighty Networks. I don't know if anybody has heard of it. It's a women-owned company, and it's a community space where we just gather and have conversations. And I do have a meditation in there. So if you want to, talking about calming the nervous system, the meditation that I created is about self-love, like loving yourself, loving your body. And I'm adding another one soon. So join us in the community, totally free. Listen to the podcast, and I don't know, hang out with me more. I'm going to go out of screen share, put these glasses back on. Where are we?
Okay. I am adding these. Michaela, thank you for sending these. I'm going to actually copy this, and I'm going to paste it into Facebook right now.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So that we have all three of those. We have the podcast, the WYN network, and the Love Challenge. All three of those.
Yeah. The Love Challenge is part of it's on that platform, and that's free as well. It's just like a 12-day challenge to practice self-love.
So just in recap, the podcast, I was like, holy cow, you just started that. And like, you've done so many already. It's like, how in the world do you do that? Like you're dedicated. And then the WYN network.
WYN stands for With Your Nature. Okay. So that's the community platform where it's really just like, almost like, think of a Facebook group where everybody's private in there, everybody has common interest, and you can like ask questions and, post stuff.
Okay. And is there a cost for that?
No. It's totally, it's just a community forum, really. It's free.
Okay. And then the Love Challenge, that is how many days?
It's 12 days. It's ongoing, so anybody can join at any time. And once you join either you join directly from the Love, it's on the same platform as our community forum. So you can do it at your own pace, and there's videos there, and just really talking about the practice of self-love, which is, in my opinion, something that most of us have to kind of learn how to do. I think somebody even mentioned it, like, how do you change that mindset? It takes practice, and having some skills in how to do it. Unfortunately, I don't know why that's the case, but seems like it is.
Yeah. No, this is great. Well, Jill, thank you so much. And I am too, Jill has a website. Mm-hmm. Do you want to share your website too, or is that?
Sure. No, that's absolutely happy to share it. I'll get the link.
Because you have, I mean, you have programs on there too.
Yes. So we have our, let me just put that in there. So we have our program, we really have, our main program is geared toward healthy, sustainable weight loss, weight management. Like I said, we're not, it's a very gentle, holistic approach. So if someone is post bariatric surgery, then it would be more of like probably if they lost the weight, it's more of a maintenance type of thing. But we do go through the nourishment. And something I didn't mention, but I think is really cool, is I always encourage people to nourish your physical body, and that's nutrition, right? And water and stuff. But we have to nourish our hearts and our minds and our souls as well. So we talk about all of that, and just, I mean, it's a full-on program. So we talk about a lot of things.
She has, so whatever you're looking for, whether you're looking for free resources or paid resources, there's so much
Exactly.
that Jill has there.
That is exactly the intention, is please, we have a lot of free resources, and if you want to that one-on-one high touch support, then we have paid programs. Thank you, Enid. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. I'm on Instagram too. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm on
and
all
it's
the LinkedIn, all the stuff.
on Instagram. It's WYN weight loss, I think, right, Jill?
Yes.
I was stalking her because I wanted to tag her on a post yesterday, so I stalked you. Had to do a little Instagram stalking. Yes, I did.
I'll put it in there.
Anyways, yeah. And too, at the end of these programs too, we always do a little shout out to our sponsors. So I'm going to do that real quick while Jill's making sure thank you. She just put her Instagram here. I'll copy this to Facebook for anybody who is on Facebook. We want to make sure and share this to them. I hate this that whenever I try to copy something, sometimes every little pop-up comes up. So I have a hard time.
Technology, we love it.
I know it's not letting me copy. I'm gonna keep trying to copy. But it's being kind of crazy.
I can give it to you. I guess it would be too late after, but in LinkedIn too. If anybody's on LinkedIn, I have a newsletter there. But it's mostly just like stuff from the podcast.
Copy. I got it here. I'll copy it over here to Jill's Instagram.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I want to say the same thing too. So at the end of these, we've kind of been doing little special promotions. And for some of you guys don't know all of our ProCare Health products. Our sponsor is ProCare, and we always try to do like little shout outs. And I want to do this. I'm going to share my screen real quickly. I have kind of a little product promo that I'm going to share. And this is kind of a fun one. There recently was a study that was done here. I'm going to share this. So have probiotics been shown to help increase weight loss? There was a recent study. It was done from Stanford University. And what they did is they took a group of Roux-en-Y gastric bypass patients, and they were post-bariatric surgery, and they gave them probiotics. And what they found was that they actually improved the outcome of their weight loss by taking probiotics. The probiotic group attained significantly greater percent excess weight loss than that of the control group. At 6 weeks, controls 25.5%, weight loss probiotic group 29.9%, and at 3 months, 38.55%. At the probiotic group, 47.68%. This trend continued at 6 months. The percentages are listed there, 60.78 and 67.15. You can see the probiotic versus the control group. So kind of a fun little fact. I'm going to actually jump here to our ProCare site, and I will actually show you from the ProCare site. jump onto our products. And if you're not familiar with the probiotics, some people actually take the probiotics. They're basically like our bariatric multivitamin, equivalent to that, which is our most popular product, the bariatric multivitamin, but they have probiotics in them. So it's a bariatric multivitamin with 45, but it also has 15 billion CFUs. Instead of being a one a day, you actually take 2 a day. So you could take both of those at the same time, or you could split one in the morning, one in the evening, if you're kind of sensitive to having to take 2 at the same time. A 60 count bottle is $18.99 or $22.99 for one-time purchase, depending on how you do that. And I will copy the link. Copy the link, and I will paste it in the chat box for anybody who wants to check that out. Oops. Okay. So, any questions, anybody? So look at Facebook here too. Make sure we don't have anything. We were right on the hour, so we're doing good on time. I think it looks like there's lots of people who's commenting. Robin and Teresa said, thank you for sharing all the wonderful information. So they loved it, Jill.
Awesome.
I love how did you get your little WYN weight loss on your screen? You were able to add that, weren't you? You're just the savvy little tech gal.
I have no idea how I did that.
I'm like, man, she's savvy, because I don't even know how to do that.
That was an accident, trust me.
Oh, you know what? I think I highlighted it whenever I copied it, and maybe it made it on yours because I did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because that's my Instagram thing. So somehow you learn something new every day.
You do. You sure do. Well, guys, I think we're at the end of this, so we're gonna be cutting it here. But we want to thank Jill for coming on and appreciate her time and energy and graciousness for being a part of all this. And Jill, I'm gonna be following up. Stay on when we cut the screen. Me and you'll be on. So we just want to wave bye to everybody and thank everyone. And
bye.
Everybody have a great day for where we are here. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know what, Jill, since we're on here together, I am I'm wondering on my host controls. I think. It took away some of my host controls. So I'm going to see if it'll allow me to do a stop. Is it allowing you? On the far left-hand corner.
Says record. Bottom?
Yes. See if it'll allow us to stop.
Just end broadcast, yes.
Is it allowing you to?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Somehow I have more power than you now.
You do.